It's time now for the third instalment of Dr. Andrew Rochford's very special investigation series called The Healthy Truth. We've had so much great reaction from this. So far, he's given us a verdict on the paleo diet and explained the dangers of sugar. Now he's about to tell us how you can lose weight using the power of the mind.
A recent study has found you can actually train your brain to choose healthy food over junk food. And in a new trial from Sydney University, they're hoping to prove the brain can even be trained to be satisfied with smaller portion sizes.
Oh, I like that.
Fascinating. For more on this, we are joined by 7 News medical editor Dr. Andrew Rochford, along with psychologist Joe Lamble. Good morning to you both.
Morning, guys.
Now, Andrew, this sounds like a miracle for a certain percentage of dieters who just have no willpower.
Sadly, it's not a miracle. Sorry to burst everyone's bubble. We've been doing it for a very long time using the power of the brain, but this research has just figured out when they sat down, they had about 13 people to try and figure out which parts of the brain were lighting up for certain foods, whether they could retrain it. And what they figured out was the pleasure centre of the brain gets fired up when we get really nice food, junk food, and the sugary stuff. And what they figured out is you could actually switch that around by introducing healthy food. So you can do it, but we're not at the point where we know exactly how the miracle will work just yet.
Oh,
sadly.
So you haven't got any exercises for us to, take a Bex or something like that?
No, not specifically, but what they did use in this specific study was they used about 3 different ways of getting people to lose the weight and try to keep it off. One was making sure you never got hungry, because the cravings for the junk food kick in the strongest when you let yourself get hungry. So make sure you're eating lots of meals throughout the day. The other one was making sure you stick to a routine. We know that when it comes to any kind of habit-forming automatic brain power, sticking to a routine is really important for that. And finally, if you're looking for the unhealthy food, try to substitute it with healthy food. So they're not new tips, but if you can stick to them, you can turn your brain around from just relying on willpower to trying to throw in some of that automatic thinking to help you break through the...
Okay, look, from a psychological point of view, how difficult will this be for the average dieter, the average woman at home? And, as an emotional, a lot of women do this, they eat when they're emotional or bored or whatever. How hard is it?
Well, as a psychologist, I'm a strong believer in our ability to retrain our brain. It is really plastic, it can change. And what happens is when the cravings hit, these neural pathways that just fire over and over again when we reach for that unhealthy food. So that gets really strong. So it's just automatic reflex. So retraining your brain means developing new neural pathways and letting that strengthen. So what happens is, like anything, the word training, it's not easy, it doesn't happen overnight, but you can do it. So the more when you get hungry and you get that craving, you reach for a healthy food, the more often you do that, then that will strengthen that neural pathway. And that's what they're talking about in the study.
So how do you do that?
Well, what you do is, as Andrew said, is you've got to choose. When you get hungry, try not to get too hungry, because if we feel deprived, we're going to reach for that unhealthy food. But when you do feel hungry, the first thing you should do is grab something healthy. So have that healthy option.
Like an apple?
Like an apple,
sticks.
exactly.
Carrot.
Just have
Nuts
it first.
are great as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
nuts.
Yeah.
So you do that. So if you automatically do that when you get hungry as a matter of routine, then what the brain starts doing is, wow, when I'm hungry, I'm going to start craving the carrot, the almonds. And that's how it works over time, though. So you must do, because our willpower is notoriously weak. We can't rely on it.
No.
So you have to.
Right. Well,
Yes.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank
Great
Absolute
tips.
pleasure.
Good to see
Cheers.
you.